This is homework 2 for the Art and Design Module 2 unit, and this is the unit that's designed to help you take better photographs so you can draw from your photographs. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is what, if anything, is wrong with these images? So let's look at them one at a time. So this one, clearly the person who took the photograph didn't look at what was behind the subject. So the subject is the main point of interest, which is the lady in here, and she happens to have a pole growing out of her head. So that's not very good at all, is it? Next one, there's nothing wrong with this image. It's a very well composed image. It could be that it's in black and white because it was originally taken on film, and it was taken at the time that this engine was in service even, or it could be that it's an engine that's been restored and this is a mock-up. I don't know which, but anyway, it works well in black and white because of the subject. So that's your monochrome. It's got great lighting, so the sky has lit up, the sun has lit up the steam, which is always a good thing when you're taking this kind of photograph. And you've got a really strong leader lines here, so you've got this track that leads you into it, this track, and the side of this carriage as well, and it leads to these men, and you look around the sky and it brings your eye back around. So that's a really cleverly composed, well put together image. There's nothing wrong with this image either. So if you can see this swirl of this staircase takes your eye directly to this beautiful roof light at the top. Good lighting, great composition. This one, well, where do we start? So the first thing is there's a great big shadow all the way down the front of her. So if this is supposed to be a picture of this lovely lady, then we can't see her for the shadow. Secondly, there's too much background, so you can crop it like that. But when then you crop it, what becomes even more obvious is this white car in the background. So always look at what is behind your image, what is around your subject rather, so you can see whether it's going to be distracting. So a little bit about depth of field. So depth of field is the amount of focus there is, depth of focus there is in your picture. So if we were using the big digital SLR cameras at school, we'd be able to set our f numbers to get different depths of fields. So this one is at f1.8, this one is at f4 because the monkey isn't as out of focus as that one, and then this monkey is pretty much in focus along with the teddy bear. But you can do this on your mobile phone. You use it by using the selective focus mode. So when you've got your camera open on your phone, on most mobile phones, even the older ones, if you just tap on whatever your subject is, the camera will know that's where you want it to focus. On some of the really new phones, there are different modes and programs that you can mess around with your depth of field. And also there are modes like portrait mode, which will throw the background quite easily into blur the background out of focus. But why do we need this? Why am I telling you about this? Why is it important? Well, if you use the correct settings for our photographs, then the main subject, if that's in focus, then that will stand out from everything else. I'll just show you some examples. So this rabbit has got a very shallow depth of field, so all the background's out front, and the only thing that's in focus is the stuff immediately around the rabbit. So that means that this rabbit is the main subject of the photograph. This one's got a larger or a deeper depth of field, so everything almost is in focus because it's a landscape. The idea is you can see everything in the picture. It's got very good composition as well because these hay bales take your eyes to the beautiful sky which is here, and it's all in focus. This one is a macro or a really close-up picture, and some of the mobile phones will do macro now. You can get the clip-on macro lenses, which are very good. I'm told you can get them in B&M quite cheaply, and that's how that's taken. And the only thing that's in focus are these bits of the stamen right at the beginning. Everything else is really prettily out of focus, a very shallow depth of field. So I've included in this video, so when you go down to the PDF of this particular PowerPoint, then this link will take you to a very simple video that just shows you a little bit more about using your focus on your camera. It might just be worth you looking for a little video on YouTube on your particular mobile phone, because they will all be different. So the task. This week I want you to really get to know your mobile phone camera. It's possibly more powerful than you think it is. When you're taking your photographs this week, I want you to remember, I want you to have thought about the rules of composition we've already looked at. I want you to look into the background about distractions, if there's anything in there that's going to distract from the main subject. Is the light right? So think about whether the light is in the correct place. If it's a still life, if it's something you're putting together of objects, use a window, use an overhead light, a lamp or something. Have you got the depth of field right? Have you selected where the focus should be? The last one is, have you cropped it right, and have you made some needed to make some changes in it? So you can choose whatever you want as the main subject. I suggest you choose something that doesn't move. So don't go choosing your cat or your dog or your little sister. You can create a series of 3 to 4 images to show that you understand how to compose a good photograph and the use of depth of field on your phone camera. And I'm going to give you an idea of how I went about doing this. So I went out into my garden and I've decided I was going to photograph some flowers. And I've decided to concentrate on this big clump of geraniums. My favourite thing is to photograph flowers. So I went out with my phone and I took lots and lots and lots of photographs from different angles. This is taken on an iPhone 7 in case you want to know. And yes, I am ready for an upgrade. Then I narrowed my selection down by looking at them. I looked at them on my iPad so I could see them bigger, and picked out 10 images that I thought were possibles. And on some of them, because on the iPhone I've got the live shot feature, I did actually move which shot it had taken. So I showed, there's a little demo just here about how to crop an image, and the link is there, and that's a link to how to use Snapseed. So when you're editing your images, you can use Snapseed, which is a free app. You can get it for Android and for ISO, and it's the best thing if you've got best free digital download editing app out there now. So the following are some befores and afters of those 10 images. One I didn't bother cropping because when I looked at it, it was just not worth it. So you can see here, and this is probably one of my favourites, that all of this, I've selectively focused on that. So it's thrown this out of focus. So when I've cropped it, this is the image. They are the little grains of pollen on the image. This one is the one I showed you in the cropping video. This one is a group of 3. Not a fan of this one. There's too much of it in focus behind. But it gives you an example. Another one of a close-up. But the reason I don't like it is here. It's a little bit distracting. Excuse me. So here, there was lots and lots of bees buzzing around while I was photographing it. So I tried to take some of the bees. This was... It froze the bees, it froze their wings, but it's too soft to focus. It's not sharp enough for me. This one, there are 2 photographs I could take from this particular one. This one here or this one here. I think this one is my favourite. Again, you can see that lots of things are out of focus in the background, and I cropped in on this one. But again, you can see this is the bit that's in focus and not the main bee. But taking things that are moving, as I've said to you, is really difficult. Really like this one. The background's out of focus. It's really close. If I was being pernickety, it probably needs a little bit of selective editing to get the bee to stand out. But you can see the patterns on its wings and the hairs on its back. This was all luck, by the way. I didn't plan on taking bees. It just happened when I was photographing these geraniums. So this one's quite nice because you've got the side view of the bee. You can see its wings. You can see its antenna. The thing I would have liked to do was to have thrown that bit into soft focus. So when I looked at what I wanted to pick, I picked 5. So I kept this one in, this one with the wings open, this beautiful close-up, and this small group here. So that was my final selection. So if I was sending my homework in to me, this is what I'd send in, and I'd arrange it using the app. I think it's called Frames, but you can use whatever you've got on your phone to put it together into an app that layout that you use for Instagram. But there are lots of apps, I'm sure lots of you use, and Pic Collage is another one. So happy clicking, and let's see a nice set of photographs in for the due date.